Um, this is the anterior surface or sternocostal surface. This is sternocostal surface. Right here, we have the inferior or diaphragmatic surface. This is inferior or diaphragmatic surface. Here is the base of the heart, also known as the posterior surface. Posterior surface. And the heart has two more face. Look at this one. Here is the right pulmonary face. Here is the left pulmonary face. Now the heart has three septi with four chambers. Let's look at the septi first. Look at this one here is the interventricular septum. This is interventricular septum that separates right ventricle from the left ventricle. Then, if you look at here, on this model, it's not, I cannot open it, but here I can open that. Look at right here, we have the interatrial septum, which separates right atrium from the left atrium. This is the left atrium. And we have another septum that separates atria from the ventricles. That's called atrioventricular septum. Can we see that? Yes, you can see that here. If you take this out, look at this one here. This is the atrioventricular septum. On the atrioventricular septum, we have the orifices and valves of the heart. Also, the skeleton of the heart is also found on the atrioventricular septum. Now, projections of the septi on the outer surface of the heart form grooves or sulcus. Look at this one here. Let's put this back here. The sulcus here is the anterior interventricular sulcus. Anterior interventricular sulcus. The sulcus back here is the posterior interventricular sulcus. The sulcus, this one here, is the coronary sulcus. Coronary sulcus anteriorly is hidden by the pulmonary trunk and the aorta and the auricles as well. Now, but still you can see the coronary sulcus here, coronary sulcus. As you see here, the sternocostal surface or the anterior surface made of by right atrium, right ventricle, to a lesser extent by left ventricle. The diaphragmatic or inferior surface, look at here, mostly made of left ventricle and right ventricle. And here is the apex of the heart, apex of the heart. Now, this is the base of the heart. Base of the heart, also known as the posterior surface. Base of the heart receives major veins and arteries. This is the inferior vena cava. Right, you have the superior vena cava, and this one is the coronary sinus.
Drain 60%.
They all of them drain into right atrium. Look at the right atrium. Here is the right atrium. This is the right atrium. Right atrium receives the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, and this one is the coronary sinus. Coronary sinus. Now, if you are to determine right side of the heart, you look at the superior and inferior vena cava. They are always found on the right side of the heart. This is the this is the this is the right ventricle. Here is the right ventricle. Look at this is the right ventricle. And again, sorry. Okay. Left ventricle, you can see the only auricula of the left atrium, because left atrium located on the posterior surface of the heart. This is the left atrium. Left atrium receives the pulmonary veins. We have 4 pulmonary veins, 2 coming from the right lung, 2 coming from the left lung. So these are the pulmonary veins. Here is the left pulmonary veins, right pulmonary veins. Okay. Now, here we have again the superior vena cava that is formed by the union of, this is the left brachiocephalic vein, this is the right brachiocephalic vein. They join and form the superior vena cava. On the posterior surface of the superior vena cava, a vein drains, this one here. You see that? This is the azygous vein. This is at T4, T5 level, this azygous vein drains on the posterior surface of the superior vena cava. Superior vena cava. Okay, now here is the aorta. Aorta has 3 parts. Ascending aorta, which has two branches, which are what?
Right and left
Look,
coronary.
very good. This is the right coronary artery here, and this is the left coronary artery here. These are the branches of the ascending aorta. And then we have the arch of aorta. Arch of aorta begins at the level of the sternal angle and ends at the level of the sternal angle. And arch of aorta has 3 branches from right to left. This is the brachiocephalic trunk. Later on, this splits into right subclavian artery and right common carotid artery. So second branch here is the left common carotid artery. Third branch is the left subclavian artery. As you see, left common carotid and left subclavian artery arise directly from the aorta, but right subclavian and right common carotid arteries do not directly arise from the edge of aorta. They are the branches of the brachiocephalic trunk. And then this aorta goes down as the descending aorta. Remember, descending aorta has a thoracic part, has an abdominal part, and you should know their branches.
The 2 branches of the superior vena cava are the right and left brachiocephalic veins.
That's right. This is the left brachiocephalic vein. This is the right brachiocephalic vein. Also remember, this left brachiocephalic vein is much longer than the right brachiocephalic vein. And on the neck, the left brachiocephalic vein is the only structure crossing the neck midline from left to the right. Okay, from left to the right. And then look at this one here. This is the pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary, at the beginning of the pulmonary trunk, there is an area.
Conus medullaris.
This is called conus arteriosus, right?
Sorry.
Conus arteriosus. That's good. That's fine. This is conus arteriosus. It's like cone. This is in shape of this conus arteriosus. And then the pulmonary trunk splits into a right pulmonary artery and left pulmonary artery at the very close to the sternal angle. Very close to sternal angle. Then you have this is the left pulmonary artery and the right pulmonary artery. This is the this is the right pulmonary artery. Right here we have the left pulmonary artery. Now there is a structure here. Can you see this one? Can you name this structure?
Something ligament.
Ligamentum.
This is what?
Inter something ligament.
This is ligamentum arteriosum, right?
Orbitalis.
Very, it's okay. Ligamentum arteriosum. Yes, this is a ligament. Ligamentum arteriosum connects pulmonary trunk, left pulmonary artery, or the pulmonary trunk to the aorta during the fetal life. This is called ductus arteriosus. The blood pushed into pulmonary trunk cannot go to the lungs because lungs are not functional during the fetal life. Or just very little amount of blood can goes to the lungs during the fetal life. Most of the blood in the pulmonary trunk is shunt to the aorta through this ductus arteriosus. But after the perforation, ductus arteriosus becomes the ligamentum arteriosum. Remember, there is a nerve running around the. Okay, you can answer it.
Inferior laryngeal or recurrent laryngeal nerve.
Which one? Left or right?
Right.
Left one. It's okay. That's good. That's important. Left inferior laryngeal nerve runs around the ligamentum arteriosum and then turns up back to the neck. Okay? Turns up back to the neck. On the right inferior laryngeal nerve turns up under the right subclavian artery. Okay? On the right inferior laryngeal or recurrent laryngeal nerve turns up under the right subclavian artery.
You covered that during Vegas.
Okay, so that, yeah. And then, so we have covered veins and arteries. Now let's look at the coronary arteries and their branches. Coronary artery and their branches. Again, this is the right coronary artery. Right coronary artery has atrial branches, ventricular branches, atrioventricular branches. The largest atrial branches supplies to the sinoatrial node. That branch is called sinoatrial nodal artery or branch. In 60% of the population, this artery arises from the right coronary, RCA, right coronary artery. In 40% of the population, It arises from the circumflex artery. We can say left coronary, but particularly circumflex artery. Let's continue. This right coronary artery runs in the coronary sulcus, and turns to the posterior surface of the heart in the look at posterior right half of the coronary sulcus. Here it runs with the small cardiac vein. You see? Vena cardiaca parva. So the right coronary artery here runs with the small cardiac vein. Good. Now, here we describe crux of the heart. Here we have interarterial sulcus. Here we have posterior interventricular sulcus. Here we have coronary sulcus. The junction of, or the cross of interarterial sulcus, posterior interventricular sulcus with the coronary sulcus is called crux of the heart. When the right coronary artery reaches to the crux of the heart, it gives off its largest branch. That's called the posterior interventricular artery or posterior descending artery or the PDA. By looking at the origin of the PDA, we define coronary dominancy as right dominant, left dominant, codominant. Okay. If the PDA, as you see here, as you see on this model, arising from the right coronary, it is the right dominant. I mean, the 75 to 80% of the population is right dominant. If it is arising the left coronary, you call it left dominant. It is 5 to 10% in population. And if it is arising both from the right coronary and left coronary, you call it codominant in terms of coronary circulation. Why this dominancy, coronary dominancy, is important? Can you comment on it?
In heart surgeries.
Well, in case of
Occlusion.
emboli or occlusion of the coronary artery, the dominancy makes big difference. For example, imagine if the right coronary artery is occluded and the heart is right dominant.
The PD
Then-
have a heart attack.
And well, this person has very low chance to survive.
1%.
But imagine, assume that the person is left dominant and the right coronary artery is occluded, and then in this case, there is a higher chance of survival. Okay? Because dominance means if the right dominant, it means that most of the heart is supplied by the right coronary artery. Left dominant means most of the heart is supplied by the left coronary artery. Okay? So here we covered what? The PDA. Now, during the lecture, I didn't cover, but there are septal branches arising from the PDA. They supply the posterior half of the interventricular septum. Posterior half of the interventricular septum. The largest, generally first branch to the interventricular septum also supplies to the atrioventricular nodal atrioventricular node. It's called atrioventricular nodal artery. In 80% of the cases, this arises from the
Right.
right coronary artery. In 20% of the cases, arises from the circumflex. Circumflex. So this is the story with
Right coronary.
right coronary artery. But here, pay attention that the PDA is accompanied by middle cardiac vein. This is the middle cardiac vein. Middle cardiac vein and small cardiac vein, both of them drain into left extremity. Is that true?
This isn't small.
Very good.
It is small.
This is small, yes, this is small. So, this is small cardiac vein. This is middle cardiac vein. Again, I am asking the question and also testing your attention. Middle cardiac vein and small cardiac vein drain to left extremity of the coronary sinus.
No, right extreme.
It's not true, right? It is the right. You see the inferior vena cava. So you say small cardiac vein and the middle cardiac vein drain the right end or the right extremity of the coronary sinus. Okay, this is the coronary sinus. Okay, we
I have a question about the dominancy, the coronary dominance. If a person is co-dominant and he has an inclusion in the right coronary artery, does he have a high chance to live or low chance?
well, in that case, you have higher chance than person who is right dominant and occlusion is in the right coronary artery. Okay? Okay, now let's cover the left coronary artery. Look at this, the left coronary artery. Left coronary artery has a main part of the left coronary artery, and then it splits into an LAD, left anterior descending artery, or anterior interventricular artery. Another one is the circumflex artery. Circumflex artery. Circumflex artery. Now, this LAD has diagonal branches, as you see here. Here you have lateral or diagonal branches. These are the lateral or diagonal branches. This sometimes first diagonal or the lateral branch arise just at the bifurcation of the left coronary artery. In that case, we talk about trifurcation of the left coronary artery. This is the left coronary artery. So left coronary artery has a bifurcation. At the bifurcation, left coronary artery splits into a LAD, left anterior descending artery, and into a circumflex artery. Again, sometimes the first diagonal artery arises from the bifurcation. In this case, we have trifurcation, means splitting into three, splitting into three. And I didn't cover, but right coronary artery gives off the right marginal artery. You see this one? Right marginal artery. Right marginal artery. So there is a branch of the right coronary artery. And then here, this is the circumflex artery. Circumflex artery also gives off the left marginal artery. Left marginal artery. So this is the story about the left coronary artery. This is the great cardiac vein. Great cardiac vein that runs with the LAD. That runs with the LAD. Okay, so just trace the LAD. So the LAD drains into
Coronary sinus.
left extremity or left end of the coronary sinus. Left end of the coronary sinus. This is the coronary sinus. Okay, now you see this is the skeleton of the heart. Here you can see the skeleton of the heart. This is the atrioventricular septum. This is what? Pulmonary valve and the pulmonary orifice. Closed pulmonary orifice is closed by the pulmonary valve. Pulmonary valve. So the pulmonary valve has three semilunar cusps. Here is the anterior semilunar cusp, right semilunar cusp, and the left semilunar cusp. This is the aorta. At the beginning of the aorta, there is aortic orifice closed by aortic valve. Look at this one. Here we have this is the posterior semilunar cusp, right semilunar cusp, left semilunar cusp. But the posterior semilunar cusp is not really posteriorly located or oriented. So here we come up another naming for the cusps of the aortic valve. Right above the right semilunar cusp, right coronary artery arises. So this is called right coronary cusp, RCC. Similarly, just above the left semilunar cusp, left coronary artery arises. So this is called LCC, left coronary cusp. But no coronary artery arises above the posterior semilunar cusp. So this is called non-coronary cusp, NCC. Now, look at here, between the cusp and the aorta, sinus is formed. This is called coronary sinus of Valsalva. We have right, left, and posterior aortic sinuses of Valsalva. Valsalva. Okay, and then look at this one here. This is the right atrioventricular orifice, closed by, guided by tricuspid valve, right? Tricuspid valve. And on the left, here we have the left atrioventricular orifice, guided by or closed by bicuspid valve, also known as the mitral valve.
Roger, if you ask us a question about the valve in the lab exam, can we write left atrioventricular and right atrioventricular?
You can do that, yes. Instead of bicuspid mitral, you can say left atrioventricular valve. You can say it's more anatomic, even better. Okay, it is acceptable. Okay, and then look at here. The right atrioventricular valve has three cusps, so it is called tricuspid valve. What you see here, this is the anterior cusp. Here is the septal cusp. This is the posterior cusp. What you see here are the chorda tendineae, or the tendineous cords. You see, these are the tendineous cords. They attach to the free edge of the cusps
And
through their one end, through their other end, they attach to the
trabecular.
papillary muscles. Papillary muscles. In the right ventricle, we have three papillary muscles. Look at this one here is the anterior papillary muscle, posterior papillary muscle, and also there is septal papillary muscle. In the left ventricle, we have two papillary muscles, anterior papillary muscle and the posterior papillary muscle. Again, these are the chorda tendinae. This is the interventricular septum. Upper part of the ventricular septum is membranous. It's called membranous part of the interventricular septum. Inside the membranous part of the interventricular septum, there is a gradual opening. What? Opening.
Oval.
Gradually closing opening. That is called. Sometimes if it does not close completely, what happens there?
Septal defect.
Ventricular septal defect. Ventricular septal defect occurs there. Ventricular septal defect. How about this one here? It's called what? Conus arteriosus. This area is called conus arteriosus.
What was the one on the outside of the heart?
Yeah, it is also conus arteriosus. Conus arteriosus. Let me look at here. Look at here. Can you close the door tightly, please? Okay, thank you. Now, what is this one here? Name this one.
Interatrial.
Supraventricular crest, this is. Supraventricular crest. How about this one? This is septomarginal trabeculae.
Yeah.
It is this supraventricular crest. This is the supraventricular crest. Continues with septomarginal trabeculae. So look at septomarginal. Here is the septal part. Here is the marginal part. And here, the most of the right crust of the conduction system passes through the moderator band. Here you have the moderator band. Moderator band. Now let's talk about. Let's see if we have the right here. It's not labeled. Right there we have the sinoatrial node. Right here we have the sinoatrial node. And then right here about the opening of the coronary sinus, we have the atrioventricular node. Atrioventricular nodes right here. And then we have the what? Atrioventricular
Node.
Bundle.
bundles or the bundle of His, and then we have the right cross, left cross, and then dividing into the Purkinje fibers. Look at here you have the Purkinje fibers. Purkinje fibers. What else we have here that we haven't covered? As far as I can remember, we have covered everything, but look at here. This is the
Interatrial.
orifice of inferior vena cava. Orifice of inferior vena cava. There is a valve here. This valve is called what? Eustachian valve, or the valve of the inferior vena cava. Up here you have the orifice of superior vena cava. Does it have valve? No, it doesn't have valve. How about here? Look at that one. That is the orifice or ostium for coronary sinus. Coronary sinus. And there is a valve here. This is called the Bayesian valve. The Bayesian valve. Or the valve of coronary sinus. Valve of coronary sinus. Right here. And then there is a structure here. It's called crista terminalis. Crista terminalis, right? This crista terminalis divides right atrium into an anterior part and a posterior part. Posterior part is smooth. And vena cava open there. So it's called the sinus venarum cavarum. Sinus venarum cavarum because vena cava open to posterior part of the right atrium. Anterior half of the right or anterior part of the right atrium is called atrium proper, where you have the muscle projections. Muscle projections in the atria are named what? Pectinate muscles, right? Pectinate muscles. So the muscle projections in the atria called pectinate muscles. Muscle projections in the ventricle called trabeculae. Trabeculae carneae. Trabeculae. There are three types of trabeculae, right? The type 1 attached to the ventricle wall through their ends and venter. The second type attached to the ventricle wall through their ends but not venter. These are breech type trabeculae. The third type trabeculae attached to the ventricle wall through their one end, but the other end is free. This is called papillary muscles. Papillary muscles. So the free end of the papillary muscles are attached to chorda tendinae, right? Chorda tendinae or the tendinous cords. So the tendinous cords, which are here, tendinous cords attached to free end of the papillary muscles and the free end of the cusps of the atrioventricular valve. Atrioventricular valve.
These, right?
Whatever.
These are the ones you were talking, typically carneae, septomarginal, and papillary muscles. The ones you just told us.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Here we have the look at this is the septal papillary muscle, anterior papillary muscle. Back here we have the posterior papillary muscle. Okay. What else? Do you have questions? So I can answer your questions. Well, it doesn't have name. It doesn't have name. I don't know why they put it there. But this one here is the ligamentum arteriosum of Potelli. This one here. And this is what? Left brachiocephalic vein. This is, and then this is azygous vein. Azygous vein. This is azygous vein. And this is,
Middle cardiac vein.
and this is,
Great
very good, great cardiac. This is
cardiac sinus.
coronary sinus. This is,
Small cardiac vein.
this is,
Right coronary artery.
very good. This is,
PDA.
very good. Great, you're doing great. These are Right or left?
Right.
Very good, very good, right. And then this is, very good, this is,
Left.
very good, this is,
Common.
very good, you're doing great. And then this is,
Pulmonary valve.
Anterior.
very good, anterior semilunar cusp of the,
Not, it's not.
yeah, this is anterior
Oh, yeah. Okay.
semilunar cusp of the pulmonary valve. And this is
Right. Left.
left. This is left. This is right semilunar cusp of the pulmonary valve. Good. Okay, and then let's come to here. Can you see this one, this guy here?
Yes.
So this is what? This is, can you see this one here?
Tricuspid.
That is what?
The right coronary.
No, that's not right. It's the posterior, right?
Yeah.
That's the posterior or the NCC.
Is that the aortic valve?
Yes.
Yeah, this is aortic valve. And then, I mean, I am trying to put the heart in anatomical position as far as I can. That's what I am turning this around, okay?
I thought
So you
were
can,
escaping me.
huh? No, no. I am trying to put the heart in anatomical position so you can figure out which is right, which is left, which is posterior, right? Okay, so this is how the heart sits here. So even I'm also trying to see it. So this one here is the,
Posterior.
you see that?
Yeah.
NCC.
That's the
NCC.
Oh,
No.
aortic
NCC, posterior
cusp of aortic.
posterior semilunar cusp. Okay. How about this one here?
LCC. LCC.
No, it's RC.
RCC, this is RCC, right? It is the right.
Yeah.
And then look at this one here. This one. You see? So I'm not trying to give you a hard time, okay? I am trying to help you to orient, okay? What else? Do you have question? If you don't have question, we can go up. Okay.